18वां कल हो गया था, आज 19वां होगा, है ना। हरि ओम श्री गणेशाय नमः। ओम नमस्तुते व्यासविशालबुद्धे फुल्लारविन्दाय तवत्र नेत्र येन त्वया भारततैलपूर्णः प्रज्वलितो ज्ञानमयः प्रदीपः। ओम ध्यानमूलं गुरुर्मूर्ति पूजामूलं गुरुर्पदं मंत्रमूलं गुरुर्वाक्यं मोक्षमूलं गुरोः कृपा। ओम कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्। सद्गुरु भगवान की जय, सच्चिदानंद भगवान की जय। कृष्ण भगवान की जय। गीता महारानी की जय। हरि ओम। श्रीमद् भगवद गीता 13th chapter 19th shloka. Yesterday we saw 18th. इति क्षेत्रम तथा ज्ञानम ज्ञेयम चोक्तम समासतः मद्भक्तः एतद् विज्ञाय मद्भावाय उपपद्यते। Thus the field as well as the knowledge and the knowable have been briefly stated. My dear Arjun, to your question I have replied you. My devotee, knowing this, enters into my being, because I am the all-pervading truth, so he becomes one with me, knowing this. Thus Lord Krishna answered Arjuna's question, and then he goes to explain a little on Prakriti and Purusha, my nature, and the Purusha, the holder of the nature. Prakritim Purusham Jaiva Vidyanadi Ubhavapi Vikaramscha Gunamschaiva Vidhi Prakriti Sambhavan. He has already explained everything, and he wants to say Prakriti, the nature, does everything, and not the Purusha, the holder of the Prakriti, nature. Nature holder does nothing. Fire doesn't make you hot, but heat of the fire, which is nature of heat, makes you hot. Nature does everything, not the nature holder, not the object, matter. Know thou that nature, matter, and the spirit are both beginningless, and know also that all modifications and qualities are born of nature only. Now, Lord Krishna is proceeding. You must know his tendency now. How he is acting now. He is proceeding towards annihilation of your ego, so that you will be able to be united with the Absolute forever. How to annihilate this ego? This ego plays havoc everywhere. So, now the starting. Lord Krishna says, steps are necessary to reach the top floor of the building. Even so, steps are necessary to reach the summit of the knowledge of the self. Understood now? Step by step you have to go, and all these steps are means only to reach the roof. That is the reason why Lord Krishna took Arjuna to the summit of knowledge step by step. He first taught Arjuna the nature of the field, then knowledge, ignorance or non-wisdom, and ultimately the knowable. When a child is to be fed, the intelligent mother divides the food into small portions and feed the child little by little. When the child sees so much, no, I cannot eat, the clever mother divides it into parts. No, it is small part to persuade the child. Similarly, here Lord Krishna teaches everything step by step, little by little. When a child is to be fed, the intelligent mother divides the food into small portions and feeds the child little by little. Even so, Lord Krishna fed his spiritual child Arjuna with the spiritual food little by little. Lord Krishna says, O Arjuna, I will give you the same teaching in another form by the description of the spirit and the nature. That's why we always discuss, you have to see one thing, one object from different all-round angles. Then only the object will be perfectly understood. One angle vision is not sufficient. Till now, the Lord expounded the knowledge of the field and the self in accordance with the philosophy of the Upanishads. Now he explains the same knowledge in accordance with the Sankhya philosophy, but without accepting its a dual nature in the form of discrimination between the spirit and nature. Vikaras, vikara means modifications. Modifications from the Mahat Tattva or intellect down to the physical body. The 24 principles of the Sankhyas. The self within is changeless. All changes take place in nature only. Mula Prakriti, the primordial nature, the unmanifested, becomes modified into Mahat, egoism, mind, the great elements and other minor modifications. All these are step-by-step modifications. Everything cannot be modified all at once. Everything in sequence. Just as coolness and ice, the day and night are inseparable, so also matter and spirit are inseparable. The three qualities, sattva, rajas and tamas, are born of nature, matter. All actions proceed from the mind, the life force, the senses and the physical body. According to the Sankhya philosophy, Prakriti and Purusha are not only eternal and beginningless, but also independent of each other and self-created. According to Vedanta philosophy, Prakriti or Maya originates from Brahman and is therefore neither self-created nor independent. The difference, could you follow? Sankhya says Prakriti, the nature, matter, that is, matter sometimes it matters only to the absolute. You see, these terms are used in various ways. You have to be very, very careful when you try to understand the philosophical terms. These terms are very elastic, of elastic use. They can be dragged this side, that side, just as the self or the temperature we saw. Temperature is cold also, temperature also hot. Only difference will be there, but everything is temperature. Low temperature, high temperature. In this way, these words should be understood thoroughly. If we just hear and understand little, then always there will be confusion and doubts. Rajas and tamas are born of nature. All actions proceed from the mind, the life force, the senses, and the physical body. So, according to the Sankhya philosophy, Prakriti and Purusha are not only eternal and beginningless, but also independent of each other and self-created, according to Sankhya Shastra. But according to Vedanta, Vedanta has brought a term called Maya. Maya means Maya. It is understood in various ways. So, according to Vedanta philosophy, Prakriti or Maya originates from Brahman and is therefore neither self-created nor independent. Ishvara has Maya under his perfect control. Mayadhyakshena prakriti suyate sacharachara. Maya is his causal body. Causal body. Maya is his illusory power. Maya is his causal body. Whose causal body? Brahman's causal body. And then comes forth the individual self, causal body and eightfold body, Puryashtak, and then the gross body. Three bodies we have known. So the gross body, of course, in the end, in between comes the individual body. Individual body means the eightfold body, carrying body, Puryashtak, or the self, individual self. And causal body, we have seen that is now we are taking it as Maya, which is not understood perfectly. See, can you define what is presence? Presence of the Absolute, which is unavoidable. It is one with the Absolute, and yet we term it differently as presence. You are here means your presence is here. So when you say my presence, what does it mean? Are you the presence? No. My body means body is different from me. In that sense, you are the inner self. So when you say my causal body, my presence, the President's presence does everything. It is not President personally, but his presence. Presence is invisible and it can be in any form, any way, and it is undescribable. That is called the causal body. The government, the presence of the government does everything. What is government? Have you seen any form of government? Can you imagine in some way what is called government? And presence of the government, it is present everywhere in the country. How is it? In different ways, multiple ways. The citizens are also government when they select or elect the persons for the government. This is so complicated. You see, there are so many complications. Yes?
Maharaj, so from a relative point of view, if we see five people, we say his self, myself, other self. So should we understand that all the self will have a single causal body, or each one will have a different causal body?
That is beyond understanding. Everybody has presence, and if somebody goes away, one presence is absent. How can you describe it? It is so complicated to express, you see. If presence is one, it is of course one. When everybody is, 5 persons are present, so presence is one. But if one is absent, then his presence is not found here. So is it divided or it is one? It is both way. Both way.
But we can also say that he is bodily absent, but his name is present here. So how can
In many ways we understand. You see, the moment I say my body, do you see the body? We see only the parts. And this is how, my dear, all these words are unbelievable. These words cannot give us real understanding which can delete all the doubts. Never it can. Never. Don't expect such thing. You will have always doubts. When you understand it analytically, how difficult it is to hold something as decisive factor. It changes. The moment you analyze it, it seems to be something else. Complicated. Yet we have to hold something from some angle, so that when we analyze it, to bring out some decision, it will help us. For some time we have to take it as something. So now, this causal body, matter and spirit are the nature of Ishwar. Know that these two are beginningless. That which has no beginning is anadi. Beginningless is the truth. As Ishwar is eternal, his two natures also should be eternal. This is according to the Sankhyas. See, Prakriti and Purusha. Purusha is eternal, so Prakriti should be eternal, and it should be independent also, according to Sankhya. Ishvara possesses these two natures, superior and inferior, that also we have seen. One is manifested and other is unmanifested. And presence and appearance, how do you define it? Is there any difference or not? Presence and appearance. Appearance also is presence. Can you deny it? So when we go to logic, logic has no end actually. That's how there is a saying, You can get God by faith and devotion. That is what we have been uh, discussing all the while. And logic cannot take you to the end. It helps, no doubt. It helps. It sharpens the intellect. And just as the trains, connecting trains, they help each other to reach the goal. But one train also, it takes from one railway station to the other railway station. It never goes to your home when you are coming back to your home from some distant place. Can the train take you till your home? It is a means to your home. Similarly, all these words, they help us up to some extent. Let us see what he says. Ishvara possesses these two natures, superior and inferior, by which he causes the creation, preservation and destruction of the universe. So now there are three Ishwaras or one Ishwara. Always there will be doubt, one in three, three in one. Therefore he has the lordship and rules over the universe. The two natures have no beginning, therefore they are the cause of samsara. The inferior nature, apara prakriti, which consists of the eightfold division of nature referred to in chapter 7, verse 4, is the prakriti of chapter 13, verse 19, the superior nature. Para prakriti, apara prakriti, inferior, and para prakriti, the superior. And the superior nature, para prakriti, referred to in chapter 7, verse 5, is the Purusha of chapter 13, verse 19. Purusha here means jiva, the individual soul. These words, they differ in meaning, sometimes something and sometimes some other time something else. This Purusha also has different meanings. You have to be very, very careful in what context, in what purpose the words are used, in what way. And ultimately everything is round. Because we have been trapped to understand the world and its creation and its sustenance, its dissolution, and the cause of the world, purpose of it. All these are not their mind here according to Vedanta. Maya is not there. And according to Sankhya, when you go with Sankhya, other philosophy also, they have some views of their own. They are right up to some extent. Finally, we have to surrender to Vedanta, because Vedanta gives the absolute solution. Even a child smiles and experiences exhilaration, grief, fear, anger, pleasure, and pain. Who taught it? The impressions of the virtuous and vicious actions of this birth cannot be cause of these. The child has all these, then how much he learned by the birth itself. So it must be brought forth from the previous lives. The impressions of the previous birth alone are the cause of all these. The impressions must have a support. From this we can clearly inference. We can clearly infer the existence of the individual soul in the previous birth, and that the individual soul is beginningless. This is the logic. Individual soul also beginningless. When you state this sentence, individual soul, from argument, logic, we have come to this decision. When you say beginningless is the individual soul because he has got previous births, when did he begin? When did he begin? No account. But my Vedanta gives some solutions. It has not begun, it is not there. So matter is there. Individual soul is not independent, not separate from the absolute. It appears to be different, which is not there. So Vedanta gives the cause, the understanding that though it is not there, yet it appears to be as something, just as snake on the rope attributes. But here in Sankhya and other schools of thoughts, they cannot give you full satisfaction.
This matter and Prakriti, is it same or different? Matter of Sankhya and Prakriti of Vedanta?
Sometimes it appears to be different. Sometimes here it is Sankhya Prakriti is same. So always we have to differ from ourselves. Sometimes this causal body appears to be something, and sometimes else it appears to be something else. All these are the confusion of Maya. This is the final decision given by Vedanta. Anyhow, let us try to understand something. Truly speaking, there is nothing to understand. Whatever we understand by mind, intellect, your higher intellect also, it is not perfect 100%, because it is intellect. The impressions must have been brought forth from earlier lives. So there must be previous births of the individual soul. In this way, the soul is beginningless. If you do not accept that the individual soul is beginningless, the two defects of kritanasa, non-fruition of action performed, you have done and yet you are denying. No. When the soul is there, how can it be? It has learnt everything at a time. So it must have previous birth and it should be previous will have another previous. So it should be beginningless. In this way, the two defects of kritanasa and akrita abhyagama, the causeless effect, will creep in. Pleasure and pain, which are the fruits of various and vicious, virtuous and vicious actions done previously, will pass away without being experienced. This is the defect of kritanasa. So also one will have to enjoy pleasure and pain. We see it. Everybody enjoys pain and pleasure both. The fruits of good and bad actions which were not done by him previously, how can he enjoy it? This is the defect of krita abhyagama. In order to get rid of these two defects, we will have to accept that the individual soul is beginningless. The scriptures also emphatically declare that the soul is beginningless. Soul is beginningless. Where from we get this? It is see the Sanskrit words. Prakritim purusam jaiva vidhi anadi ubhavapi. These are both are anadi, beginningless. Vikaramscha gunamschaiva vidhi prakriti sambhavan. Then prakriti gets modified and creates all these differences. Purusha, though it is beginningless, it remains, it is not the cause of the creation, it just enjoys it and witnesses it. In this way, we have to take it for granted. Prakritim purusam jaiva vidhya anadi ubhavapi. Dono, both vikaramscha gunamschaiva vidhi prakriti sambhavan. So all the scriptures, they declare this only in different ways. Karya karana kartrutve hetuhu prakriti richyate. Purusaha sukha dukkhanam bhoktrutve heturuchyate. So both are given different aspects now. What are those? In the production of the effect of the cause, nature is said, matter is said to be the cause. In the production of the effect, phala, karma phala, in the experience of pleasure and pain, the soul is said to be the cause. How it is? Karya karana kartrutve, cause and effect, hetuhu prakriti ruchyate. The cause is, it is done by prakriti, and purusha sukha dukhanam bhaktrute heturuchyate. Purusha enjoys the result of it, sukha and dukha. So when we say Purusha, don't forget, of course it will bring complication now. That's why he has not brought this word, Purushottam. He has told he is the Purushottam. Sometimes the director also takes some parts in the drama, isn't it? In Chanakya, the director himself became Chanakya because it is a very difficult role. So, that same Purushottam becomes Purusha sometimes. He takes the role of Purusha. Of course, he takes all the parts because his mind plays the drama, his mind, director's mind. So in this way, don't bring it now, but I have just given, keep it in your back. Purusha means don't think he is the ultimate, no. Purusha, we can say Ishvara here. And in some Upanishads it is said, Mayi jivatvam isatvam. Purusha, Ishwar, who is the commander of Maya Prakriti. He controls it. Mayi jivatvam isatvam kalpitam. According to Vedanta, kalpitam, it is only imagined. It is not really there. It is as to be janati. Inwardly, all these are only imaginary stories. The worlds are imaginary stories, grandmother's stories told to the child for sleeping. Understood? All these are meaningless. These creations, ultimately you have to accept these creations and these sustenance of it and destruction of it in the end. All these are only imaginary stories. Then only you can enter into peace, or else you cannot have sound sleep. You will be always thinking what is what. Anyway, we shall see it in the, you see, there is a saying, Arjuna jane Gita, Mata jane Pita. Arjuna was endowed with the divine vision, then only he could understand something And that also, once Arjuna, after the battlefield, Mahabharata battle, sometimes he asked Krishna long afterwards, "My dear Lord, I have forgotten what you told in the battlefield." At that time my mind was thinking of the battle. So for the time being I hold everything, understood everything. Now the battle is over, so I have forgotten it. Can you repeat it again? Lord says, I have also forgotten. Then when you see situation make you do something and tell something and force you, it is time, situation, conditions. Lord also said, I have also forgotten. If Lord Krishna himself forgets it, what to speak of us? How much we can understand, but yet one word, if you go on contemplating, one word of Gita, it gives so much solutions to the life's problems, so much relief from worries and anxieties of the world. Several times I have experienced, and it is also supported by great people. One word of Gita, one word of your Guru, enough for the whole time, whole life, if you obey and if you keep it in mind. There is no doubt. And as much as you go on remembering and contemplating, so much new meanings you will get. New meanings. It reveals its inner meaning. Anyway, we have to go through Gita at least 108 times. Whole Gita. At least. Then only we can understand little. Anyway, please try to understand. In the production of the effect and the cause nature, in the production of the effect and the cause nature, matter is said to be the cause. In the experience of pleasure and pain, the soul is said to be the cause. In which Upanishad? I just forget. Dabahu Suparna. There are two beautiful birds sitting on this body tree. Urdhvamula Madhasakha in 15th chapter. This body, this world is a tree, its roots are above, its foliage is down below. And in Upanishad it is said, this body is a tree and two birds are sitting on this tree. The lower bird and the upper bird. Upper bird does nothing. It only enjoys the restlessness of the lower bird, which is ever enjoying the fruits of savory and sweet ones. Now it will be happy, other next moment it will feel sorry. In this way, this lower bird, which is known as the Jivatma, the individual soul, it enjoys. That is now here is called Purusa, who enjoys the fruits, good and bad, pleasure and pain. So that's why I reminded you, there is Purushottam who is sitting above. He does nothing. He does nothing. So tomorrow we shall see it further. We shall go for discussion and you see arguments with supports from other scriptures, etc. You see, then only we can have a little understanding. Not so easy to enter into the real meaning of it. Somehow we understand. You see, always the words are used in different sense. Purusa, in Yoga Vasishtha, Purusa is not the supremo. Purushottam, here also Purushottam. Purushottam is the absolute which has no form, no name, nothing, no attributes, nothing. But his presence, which we here were considering as the causal body, the causal body creates all the confusions. Nobody knows how is causal body. Somewhat we can understand the grosser part of it, that is individual soul. Of course, physical body also it is so difficult to understand by the doctors, what to speak of ordinary being. Physical body, how this body is built. What a machine the Lord has made. So let us see. I am not discouraging, I am encouraging only. India, lage raho India, Hari Om. Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnad Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasesate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sadguru Bhagavan ki jai. Krishna Bhagavan ki jai. Gita Mata ki jai. Hari Om.